we are doing lesson 2.11, use factors to find equivalent fractions. So yesterday we used multiples. We multiplied by a number and got a new fraction. So remember, if we had 3/4, we could multiply by the same number on top and bottom and get 6/8. Remember us doing that yesterday? If you do it to the top,
you do it to the bottom.
if you do it to the bottom,
You do it to the top.
okay. So it's the same thing today, but it's a little bit different because we're using factors. So you'll see what I mean. Do you remember in unit 1 when we did multiples? Zerelda, multiples of 2 are like doing what? Zerelda?
Skip counting.
Skip counting by 2, right? So, some multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, ... Why do I write ... Because, Jackson? It never ends. It never ends. Never ends like this week. No, I'm kidding. Give yourself a point and give yourself a point. Okay, now, when you're going to see that you can multiply fractions by the same thing on top and bottom, but you can also, what's the opposite of multiply? Divide. So let's look. Andre drew a number line and marked a point on it. Label the point with the fraction it represents. So on page 82, where we are now, I want you to label the point with what fraction it represents. So pick up your pencil, label that point. And then cover your answer, label that point. And cover your answer with your finger.
Is it
Label the point with the fraction.
Like any fraction you want?
The one that goes with that point, that makes sense there. Remember, you don't count the 0. What point is that? Tell me what fraction goes with it. Let me see what you got. 8 on top, what's it say on the bottom? So you're telling me that this is the 8th line out of only 8 total. You think that right? Count 8 them again. Don't count 0. All right. So let's count. Put your hand down, please. Okay. All right. So watch what we do. The total, we start at 0, and how many jumps to get to 1 whole? What number does that become? Your numerator or your denominator? Denominator. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the bottom number of your fraction needs to be 12. Hand down, Tom. Make sure you've got this written down if you don't already. Then the top number is how many jumps you make to the dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So remember, I told you guys there's lots of side conversations going on. Remember I told you guys that, do you remember what 2 words you can use for the fraction line?
Yes.
What? Ari? Out of. So this point is 8 jumps out of 12 total. Okay? So you can, if you jump all the way to 1 hole, you can jump 12 times. But if you stop at that point, you've jumped 8 out of 12. Okay. To find other fractions this point represents, Andre made copies of the number line. Then, you know, when we multiply, we add lines to our number line. We like split them in half, Cameron, or split them into 3 sections or 4 sections. That's when we multiply. But what he did is he drew marker or darker marks on some of the existing tick marks. Label the darker tick marks Andre made on each number line. So yours, it's kind of hard to tell, so we're going to go over them. So watch up here on this number line. You're going to make a little darker. I'm going to make them pink so they stand out. You're going to make pink the one at 0. Make it darker. Then these you can't really see are blue. So we're going to make this one pink. And then these are blue. We're going to make this one pink where the point is. And then we're going to make this one pink as well. Now, we're going to pretend those other lines are not there. We're only looking at the pink ones. So what fraction would this point be just looking at the pink lines? So if we start at 0, 1 jump, 2 jumps, 3 jumps. So what's our denominator? 3. What's our numerator? 2. So 2/3. Everybody write that down under that point. 2/3. Now watch this. This is cool. So we started with 8/12 and we got to, oh, I see. Here you go, honey. We got to 2/3, right? What do you divide 8 by to get 2, Fisher? What do you divide 8 by that equals 2? Okay. Ari? 4. So 8 divided by 4 equals 2, right? If you do it to the top,
You do it to the bottom.
12 divided by 4 equals 3. When I say divided by, that's what he's doing on the number line. When we multiply, we add lines. When we divide, we move lines. We remove lines, okay? So he made this first part. Oh, my pen's not in there. Here it is. So Colton, he made this first part that had 1, 2, 3, 4 lines into just 1 line. So he divided it by 4. Okay? Next number line. This one, I'm going to do this one in blue. Make this line darker. What do you need, Zeralda?
I was going to answer.
I'm not asking a question. You need to just follow along, okay?
I already know the answer.
I'm glad. I'm super glad. But for now, I'm just trying to do this so everybody stays up with me, okay? All right. So now we had 8/12 on the original number line. And then we divided it where how many sections did we combine into one? Avis?
2.
2. So we combined 2 into 1, so that's like dividing by 2. So here we go. To figure out our point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And how many jumps? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4/6 is our next fraction. I'm going to make that a little smaller. Okay. 4/6. Because when you divide 8 by 2, what do you get?
4.
4. And when you divide 12 by 2, what do you get?
6.
6. So, we started with 8/12. We took those 12 sections and reduced them down to 3 sections. And by combining 4 into 1. Okay? Then we took 8/12 and combined 2 sections, 1, 2 into 1, 1, 2 into 1, 1, 2 into 1, all the way across, okay? And that's dividing by 2. That gave us the point 4/6. So that means that 2/3, 4/6, and 8/12 are all equivalent fractions. Does that make sense? Okay. Here we go. Kieran doesn't like to use number lines. So he did this instead. He used a different strategy. How do you think Andre's and Kieran's strategies are related? We've already kind of talked about that, right? Because when you divide, you're removing lines, right? You're combining them. And you also see that Kieran got 2/3. Look familiar? Kieran also got 4/6. Look familiar? So he got the same exact ones, just using the numbers only. By a show of hands, do you prefer the number line method or do you prefer the equation method? Raise your hand if you prefer number lines. Okay? Raise your hand if you prefer the equations. That's me, I prefer equations. But with the equations, you have to remember that if you do something to the top, you do the same thing to the bottom. Okay? All right. So here's what we're going to write down. Not much writing today, but we are going to write this. The question is, how do you think Andre's and Kieran's strategies are related? Both, write this down, both are using division to find equivalent fractions. Both are using division to find equivalent fractions. Now they want us to try using Kieran's strategy to find fractions that are equivalent to 10/12 and 18/12. So we have 10/12 and 18/12. Since we don't have a number line for this one, we need to figure out what number you can divide both 10 and 12 by. Because you can't, not all numbers are going to work. Like when you multiply, you can multiply by anything, Cameron, except for 0 and 1, right? You can do 2, 3, 4, 10, 20, 100. You can multiply by anything because you can just keep adding lines, right? But when you're dividing, there's only certain numbers that you can divide by that will work for both numbers. Because like I can divide 12 by 3 because on the 3 row there's a 12. But do you see how on the 3 row, Todd, there's no 10? So I can't do this. I can't say 10 divided by 3 and 12 divided by 3 because we can't divide 10 by 3 and get a whole number. So the way that you figure out what numbers will work is by finding the common factors. Remember when we did factors in our first unit? All the numbers that multiply together to get 10. What do we start with? Zerelda?
1.
1 times what?
10.
Yes. Put yourself down for a point. 1 times 10 equals 10. What's the other factor pair for 10? Todd?
2 times 5.
Yes. Put yourself down for a point. Okay. And that's it, right? 1 and 10,
Yes, yes.
2 and 5. It is it. The other one is 5 times 2 is already up there. 2 and 5.
But what if you flip it over?
You've already got the numbers, so we just list them once, okay? Remember we talked about that when we were learning about factors. 5 and 2 works, but we already have a 5 and a 2, okay? What about 12? What's the first factor pair for 12? Emma? Say it louder. 1 times 12. You're correct. Put yourself down for a point. What's next, Devin?
2, 14.
What do you multiply 2 times, Devin, to get 12? On your multiplication table, go to the 2 row. Do you see it? Go find 12, and then you go up.
6.
6 is its partner, okay? 2 times 6. And then, what's next? Harbor?
3 times 4.
Yes, put yourself down for a point. You too, Devin. 3 times 4, and that's it. That's it. Anything else is already up there. If you're going to tell me 4 times 3, it's already up there. If you're going to tell me 6 times 2, it's already up there. That's all of them.
Wait.
Now, common factors. Numbers that appear in both lists. So, is there a 1 in both lists?
Yes.
Yes.
We can't do that.
We don't want to divide by 1 because we don't get an equivalent fraction, we get the same fraction. So, what's another number that shows up in both of the lists? Autrey?
2.
2. Is there any other common factors? No, there is not. So guess what we're dividing by? 2. So we're going to write the division sign, divided by 2 over 2. And the partner numbers are right next to them. What is 10 divided by 2? 10 divided by 2 is 5. And then what is 12 divided by 2? 6. So there's our equivalent fraction. Okay? So here's what I want you to write down now. I want you to write down 10/12 divided by 2 over 2 equals 5/6. Okay? I'm not going to make you write down the factor list, but I want you to realize that that's how you can find them. Okay, next. I'm going to leave this up here because we have a 12. The other one that we have to find is 18. Factors of 18. What do we start with, Evan?
1 times 18.
Yes, put yourself down for a point. What's next? Autrey.
2 times 9.
2 times 9. Okay, and next, Emma.
3 times 6.
Yes, ma'am. And that That is it. 3 times 6. Okay? 1, 18, 2, 9, 3, 6.
Isn't there 4 times 4? No,
That would, yeah, that would be it. Okay. So we have a 2 and a 2. What's another common factor? Ari? 3. There's a 3 and a 3. What's another common factor? Fisher? 1, but we don't worry about 1. You're right. So you can give yourself a point, but we don't worry about 1. Jackson?
6.
6. All right, Jackson, give yourself a point. Okay, so that's all of them. That means we can divide 18/12, Cameron, by all of these, by 2, by 3, and by 6. Okay. So I'm going to write 18/12 3 times because I need to do 3 different division problems. So write 18 over 12, 18 over 12, Zerelda, and then I'm going to do it over here, 18 over 12. And on the first one, I'm going to divide it by 2, and then I'm going to divide it by 3, and then I'm going to divide it by what? 6. All right, so 18 divided by 2 equals 9. And 12 divided by 2? 6. So there's our first equivalent fraction. You need to get all these copied down. Okay, and then 18 divided by 3 equals?
6.
And 12 divided by 3 equals? 4. So there's our second one. And our last one, 18 divided by 6 equals? 3. And 12 divided by 6 equals 2. All right. And all 3 of those fractions are equivalent to 18/12. So, did you get all that copied down? Okay, so we've got one more page to do together.
I noticed something.
What do you notice?
That there, on the side, there's 2. They're both the same numbers. Well, no. Wait, yes. Because
What do you
on the
mean?
side,
Show
like,
me on here.
it's like 10, and there's 2 2s, 3 3s, 6 6.
And that's because if we do it to the top,
We do it to the bottom.
you're right. Okay, good. All right. If you didn't quite finish getting that copied down, I'll put it back up when we're done with this. How would you find them? Okay, so they're going to give us some fractions, and the directions say find at least 2 fractions that are equivalent to each fraction. Show your reasoning. So we're just going to do 2. Okay? 16 eighths. Okay. So let's list the factors of 16 and the factors of 8. Shout them out.
116.
1 times 16. 2 times 8.
4 times 4.
Okay, that's it on 16. And then for 8?
1 times 8. 2 times 4.
Okay, so what is the biggest number that appears in both lists? Jackson, Chambers.
8.
8. Give yourself a point.
Yeah.
8. The biggest number in this list is 8, and if I go over here, there's also an 8. So that is called, you're going to hear this a lot in the rest of this year and next year, GCF. Greatest common factor. Greatest common factor is the biggest number that you can divide two numbers by. So if we divide 16 by 8, what do we get?
8.
Two. If we divide 8 by 8, what do we get?
1.
1. So there's our first common factor, first equivalent fraction. So write this down. 16/8 divided by 2 over 2 equals, no, I did 8. Sorry. Actually, we're going to do 2 also, so you don't have to erase it. So then we'll come over here and do 16/8 divided by 8 over 8 equals 2 over 1. So Riley, you're not writing anything down. We're up here. Okay, so another common factor they also have 4, and they also have 2. We're going to use 2. So 16 divided by 2 equals
8.
And 8 divided by 2 equals 4. So we're going to write 8 over 4. There we go. All right. Good work. Keeping up. You know that. Okay. Next we have 40 tenths. Just looking at 40 tenths, what do you know right off the bat that you can divide by? Right off the bat, you know that they both will be divisible by this number. Avis?
10 times 4. No.
Listen to my question. What is a number that you know right away that both 40 and 10 can be divided by?
10.
Yes,
No.
10. Because what do they both have in the ones place?
0.
A 0, and we know that multiples of 10 all have zeros in the ones place. So we can definitely divide by 10 over 10. And what is 40 divided by 10?
4.
4. And what is 10 divided by 10? 1.
2.
So you have 10 cookies and 10 kids. How many cookies does everybody get? 1.
Just take away the zeros.
Yes, that's right. Remember, when we divide by 10, we just take a 0 from the end. When we multiply by 10, we add a 0 to the end. So, here we go. Divided by 10 over 10 equals 4 over. And then we're going to write 40 over 10 again. And what's another number that you know for sure that you can divide both 40 and 10 by? Fisher. 2, because 40 and 10 are both what? What kind of number? What'd you say? Even. They're both even, right? But you got it, Fisher. You can divide 40 and 10 by 2 because they're both even numbers. One more. What else can you divide 40 and 10 by since they have a 0 here? Evans?
4.
No?
What?
You cannot divide 10 by 4.
Oh, that would be
Autry?
5.
5. Because look at multiples of 5. They all have 5 or 0 in the ones place, right? Okay, so let's do 5. What is 40 divided by 5? Go to the 5 row, find 40, go up.
8.
And what is 10 divided by 5? 2. So write 8 over 2, and they are equivalent. Okay. So, next we have 7 and 6. What are the factors of 7?
1 times 7 and that's it.
1 times 7 and that's it, because 7 is prime peace sign. It has 2 factors, 1 and itself. Okay? What about 6?
Uh,
1 times 6 and
2 times
3. Okay.
That's it.
What are the common factors? Cameron? 1, that's it, right? So, what do you think we should do if we can't divide by anything?
Multiply.
Yes! We're gonna multiply. We're gonna multiply. This one we can't divide, so we'll multiply. So 7 6 and 7 6. I like to just stick with 2 over 2. That'll give me 14 over 12. And I also like to do 10 over 10, because that means I just add a 0 to the end. Okay?
That rhymes.
I'm all about the rhyming. All right. 7 6 times 2 over 2 equals 14 over 12. And 7 6 times 10 over 10 equals 70 over 60. All right. So kind of just a little bit of a tip. If you're looking at a fraction and you're trying to find equivalent fractions, and you're saying, should I multiply or divide? If one of the numbers is prime, you're probably going to need to multiply, because you probably won't be able to divide. But you can always multiply by anything but 1 and 0. Okay, here we go. We got another one. 90 and 100. All right, let's see if you guys can tell me the factors of 90. What do we start with?
1 times 90.
1 times 90. 2 times?
45.
45.
And 10 times.
Hang on, let's go in order. 3 times?
70.
No.
Wait,
9.
Wait, 36.
No.
Oh, 30. 30.
30, yes.
Because if
Jackson.
you count like 3s, you get to 9, just add 0.
Yes, yes. Okay, all right. 4's out. What about 5?
5 times.
You can't.
No, it's 5 times.
it's
5 times 40.
You can, because
It's
what's
18.
It is 18. Yes, Autry. Give yourself a point. Jackson, you got a point for that 30. Okay. Remember, don't just assume you can't, because it's got a 0 here. So 5 is definitely a factor.
6 is out, right?
6? No. It's not, and the reason why, Evan, is when you have a 2 and a 3, you'll always
So
have a 6. So look at your multiplication table. Go to the 6th row, look for 90, and then go up. It's 15. Okay, 7's out, 8's out.
9 times 10.
Woo! Yes. All right.
That's it.
That is it.
Because
You're the only one, Zerelda. All right, we're getting on fire. We're getting on fire. We're just going. Okay. 1 times 100. 2 times
50.
50.
3.
Can't do 3.
Yeah.
4 times
25. 25.
Mm-hmm. Yep, go for it. 5 times
10 times
5 times 20. 6 is out because there's no 3. And the last one, 10 times. Okay. All right. Lots of common factors. Let's find the biggest. Okay. So we have 100 here, but not here. A 50 here, not here. 25, no 25. A 20, no 20. A 10 and a 10.
Oh my gosh.
And then a 5 and a 5. Okay.
2 and a 2.
There is a 2 and a 2, but we're just going to do 2 problems. When you divide by 10, you just take a 0 off the end.
So 1.
Okay, and then here we go. 90 divided by 5 equals
18
and 100 divided by 5.
equals 20.
Okay, there we go. She's on fire. She's on fire. I know. All right.
She's just like, I want to know.
We're almost finished. 90 divided by 90 hundredths divided by 10 over 10 equals 9 tenths. And 90 hundredths divided by 5 over 5 equals 18 over 20. Okay. Last one. 5/4. Okay. 5/4 and 5/4. Okay, factors of 5.
1 times 5.
1 times 5.
That's it.
That's it because 5 is prime. Peace sign prime. 5 and 4. We've got 1 times 4.
2 times 4.
Okay. So the only common factor they have is 1.
We have to multiply.
We have to multiply. All right. So let's do 2 over 2 and 10 over 10. 10 and 8. And when you multiply by 10, you just stick a 0 on the end. Okay.
You're lying.
I'm on it. All right.
I just want to eat popcorn right now.
Same here.
All right. 5/4. Okay. So, in a second, we're taking a quiz.
Yay.
I'm so
happy.
On the quiz, you're going to have to come up with two fractions that are equivalent to 3/4. Okay? So, if you think about factors of 3 and 4, what are you going to have to do?
Multiply.
Yes! Evan, yes, you're going to have to multiply because 3 is a prime number. And so we can't divide 3/4 by. So you're going to multiply. And if you do it to the top, you do it to the bottom. Okay? So this is what I'm looking for, Colton, on your quiz. I'm looking for the fraction they give you. I'm just making one up here. 1/5 times 2 over 2 equals 2 tenths. Or 1/5 times 3 over 3 equals 3/15. Okay? That's what I'm looking for on the first problem on your quiz. This is not the problem though. Don't just copy my answer. I'm just showing you how to do it. Okay? Then on the next one, they're going to give you a number line. It's not the same as this, but they're going to give you a number line and you're going to have to name 2 points, or it's going to give you a point. Like maybe, say, right here, for example. You're going to have to figure out what that point is, like the very first thing we did in math today. So I'm going to go. Cameron, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So figure out my denominator. And then 1 jump, 2 jumps. Okay? And then I'm going to add lines to my number line so that now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sections. And it takes me 1 jump, 2 jump, 3 jump, 4 jump to get there. Okay? So that's what you're going to have to do. And then on the last one, there's one more thing. Zerelda, listen to this because this is important. Put your hand out. Does it matter if you're multiplying what order you go in? So 2 times 3 equals what?
6.
And 3 times 2
6.
equals what?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So, here's what they're gonna do to try to trip you up. Focus up here. No, not right now. I want you focused. This is what they're gonna do. Watch. They're gonna give you a fraction, but instead of multiplying behind it, they're gonna add 2 over 2 to the front. Does that still work?
Yes.
Yes. As long as you do the same thing to the top and bottom, and the fractions are equivalent, okay? Even if you put the 2 over 2 in the front. You with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna stop this.